There is a 10-second bonus too. None of the big favourites have picked up any of the bonus seconds out there today. They were available at the 2 sprint points because they've been taken by our breakaway, so they're largely irrelevant. We have one guy left hanging out there, and that is the Luxembourger Tom Wertgen for Bingoal Pal Sources. My name's Jez Cox, his name is Matt Stevens, and we're bringing you these final 10 kilometres. Once they come out of the woods here, where they're in amongst the nature reserve, they're going to be lining up the leading teams for their best sprinters. Big names in here, as Matt and I said, to watch: Olav Koy, Elia Viviani, Jakob Maresco. And amongst them, those who will try and pick them off: Arvid de Klein of Human Powered Health, the American team, maybe Bram Welton, the Dutchman for the Netherlands national team. There's been a lot of work trying to get him in position. Let's see if they can make it work. But at the moment, though, Matt, they've got to bring Wertgen back, and he's actually riding really well.
Yeah, he is. It actually looks like Burgos. I thought, but that wasn't Burgos. It was just the colour. It's still Absent Phoenix riding hard. Just see riding in second wheel, Julien Vermoet, who was given a lifeline, really. I think, was it this season or was it the year before? Very, very late in the day, was picked up after being dropped by Cofidis.
Yep.
After spending a time with Quebec Assos, then Cofidis, and then essentially was going to retire. Felt that he wanted to ride some more, and ultimately got a ride with Absent Phoenix. He's sitting there, very, very experienced road captain, I would imagine, for this squad as well. Joran Vissure, Senna Layson, who's just come off the Giro d'Italia, so has got some very strong, if maybe slightly tired legs. Scott Thwaites has been good and keen getting Maresco into position. But what Absent Phoenix have been very good at, it's quite interesting the way that they do these sprints. They keep the pace high, they keep Maresco in a good position, but then Maresco, for the final part, the last 1,500 metres, generally freestyles. He drops himself onto the wheel of Olav Koy or near to Elia Viviani. And that victory yesterday and the one the previous day where he was disqualified essentially took the wheel of Koy on both occasions. In fact, he took the wheel of Ben Turner, didn't he? And that's why he was disqualified. But he is one of those riders in a field like this that, as long as he's put in a decent position with a couple of Ks to go, from that point onwards can essentially do his own thing. But Absent Phoenix, more than happy with that win yesterday. And the way he's riding, it wouldn't surprise me if he won again today. He looks very, very dangerous, and I think his sprinting, probably the best he's sprinted in a long time, Jess.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, Maresco, if in the right place, I don't know what you think, Matt, but I actually, head-to-head with the others, Olav Koy, let's say, and Elia Viviani, I think Maresco's the fastest in a straight line if he's in the right place. So, of course, every sprint is different, but Yesterday's win looked the most. Yesterday's win by Maresco looked the most dominant of the three so far. And we have an attack going now from one of the Ablock riders. Is that? No, sorry, it's an Alink Continental rider, isn't it? Here we go, making the most of the slipstream of the motorbike, it has to be said too. But he attacked hard, has gone clear by himself.
Why not? Just 8.1 Ks to go, around 5 miles. So it's opened up a little bit of a gap. Just went up the inside on that little rutted part. Which would have been pretty hard work actually, but it's done a good job. And why not attack? As I say, they've got no out-and-out sprinter here. They've come to this race not just to make up the numbers, so why not try if you can? Chapeau, but this bunch moving very, very quickly indeed. You can see a couple of the riders from Jumbo-Visma near the back, and this is the moment where the race briefly came together. There's that little bunny hop and acceleration off that rutted part, and then he's taken the place of Tom Wertgen, who immediately goes straight back to the bunt. So textbook manoeuvre, a like-for-like swap, and now we have Jelle Butzfeldt out in front.
Dutchman, 22-year-old. That was a lovely shot looking back through the forest. I've got this strange thing, Matt, about tree-lined roads. You know, a smooth road, fully tree-lined. We know, with the trees curving over the top. Oh, it's my dream cycling road. Beautiful to look at, isn't it? I think it's my penchant for wildlife. I like to be able to crack along on the bike and just look into the forest, just get lost in it all. It's kind of like, I guess it's mountain biking or gravel riding on a nice smooth road. That's what it is. He's made the most of it and made the most of the gravelly track at the edge as well before hopping over those kind of demarcation micro cobbles at the edge of the road. I don't even know what you call them, kind of edging to the road. I guess you might park up on it or something, but he's got a little lead, hasn't he?
He has indeed. He's from Hainaut, 22 years of age. His best placing. Well, he's had a trying to look at his results from this year. Nothing just yet, but clearly got decent legs today. He's been waiting, biding his time, and has managed to eke out a lead at the moment of 11 seconds, which is pretty respectable. We've got Team DSM now moving to the front on the right-hand side of the road. Alpecin Phoenix not relinquishing that position on the left, looking after Jakub Morecko, who's sat in fourth wheel at the moment. But DSM, I think, of all the squads here, are the one that need to really do something. That they need a bit of a redemptive ride today. But this lad out in front is riding very strongly. He's got daylight, in fact. So
big daylight.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. 12 seconds it is for this rider, and he's putting out some serious power there.
He definitely is. That's impressive. That is impressive for Jelle Buutsveld, number 103, riding for the Alink Continental Cycling Team. Very quick question for you, Matt. I know we've got 6K to go, but I wanted to drop this in because you mentioned it. There were a few riders in that breakaway who do have wins, the breakaway that's just been caught, who do have wins in .2 races. Now, you and I both use a number of different, what should we say, online results, cycling results databases. A couple of them don't include wins in .2 races as pro wins. Now, I don't know how you feel about that. I personally disagree with it. If you look at a lot of those races, they're rammed with pro riders. There might be a few elite riders, but generally they'll nearly always be full-time riders anyway. And I think the organisers of this race, the ZLM Tour, are claiming it as the Netherlands' only men's stage race. Now, the other one that you mentioned is the Olympia's Tour, and that's a .2 race. So, you know, where do you stand on that? Because to my mind, .2 is pro. Tell us what you think.
I know what you mean, and if you were a rider that's won a half-decent 1.2, which I've done back in the past, you'll take it. But the reason I think they're not counted is because they're not open to the top tier of pro riders. So you can ride as a pro team, but World Tour teams cannot ride 1.2s or 2.2s, but they can ride everything else. So I think because there's not World Tour opposition, it's almost counted as almost amateurish. I think that's a little bit unfair, but that's where that's where that cut-off is. So 1.2s open to club teams, national teams, continental teams, and also pro teams, but not World Tour teams. And I think that's why that distinction's been made.
Interesting. Well, let us know your thoughts on that. I'm at Jez Cox. Matt is at Real Stevens. Let us know your thoughts, because I think it's an interesting debate, that one. Certainly, if you look at the depth in there, it's a fascinating one. Anyway, let's concentrate on these final 5 kilometres of the penultimate stage of the ZLM Tour, the longest stage of the race today. And it's not Ineos Grenadiers who are looking to lock horns with Jumbo-Visma, but it's a whole smattering of other teams. There's those orange jerseys of the Rival cycling team, then the orange and purple of the American team, Human Powered Health, as well. But Jumbo-Visma, once again, as they have been from day one, are the team with the biggest numbers. We've got a rider down, Matt, as well, by the looks of it. Not sure where that's happened. And it looks like it might be an Alpecin Phoenix rider. It is. Oh, dearie me. That does not look good.
It looks like it might be. Is it Morecko? It looked very small.
Yes.
I couldn't quite tell that. Well, no, it isn't. Morecko is just on the wheel of the white jersey there.
I think that could have been Senna Layson.
Yeah, that looked pretty nasty, actually. I do hope he's okay. Never good to see. Thankfully, nobody else came down, but we do hope that rider is okay. But meanwhile, out in front, we've still got our solo leader who's doing a cracking ride here, Jelle Buutsveld. He's certainly making the others ride behind. You see some of the faces of the riders who were pushing into the wind, in particular Jos van Emden. So good at doing this, and now we've got the mass ranks of the Bengal Pal Sources team taking to the front, and also a few riders are actually being dropped because the pace now is so frenetic with 3.6Ks to go. Well,
Tim Dupont, we were bigging up day one. He's been kind of there or thereabouts, but this year, Timothy Dupont, for the first time in, well, actually the first time since I've been commentating for Eurosport GCN, he hasn't looked the same. He's still only 34 years of age, but the last few years I'd had him nailed on as a top 5 or top 10 in literally every stage of this race, and he's been just a little bit off it. But Karl-Patrick Lauk, not at all the Estonian. He's looked really good. I think this lead out will be for him, Matt. He's got some strong, teammates that can do it as well. Tom Paco, the Belgian, is an ideal lead out man for Karl-Patrick Lauk. They'll be aiming at least the podium, I'm certain.
Yep, they're doing a good job here. Just in the centre of the screen, those Sport Flandre and Balois as well, those yellow and black shorts and the white jerseys. And just moving through to the centre, although he hasn't got any riders with him, again is Cameron Worth. So 2.9Ks to go, still Jumbo-Visma on the left-hand side, the best drilled-looking team at the moment. And the other teams have lost that colour order that you would expect just in the centre of your screen. You've got the Beat Cycling team. They'll be looking after Yuri Havik with the black shoulder and the aquamarine coloured kit. Then again on the right-hand side, trying to get back into contention in that purple and orange kit. That is Human Powered Health, looking after the Dutchman Arvid de Klein. So 2.6 goes to go, Jess.
Arvid de Klein sits third wheel. Matthew Gibson, nearest us, is trying to match the speed at the moment of Sport Flandre and Balois alongside them, who looked like they've just lost their formation a little bit. Jos van Emden has come back to the front looking ice cool, isn't he? Just looks across to his teammates and says, right boys, come on, I'll show you how it's done, and he strings it back out again. Jos van Emden, who's won 4 stages of this race, surprise, surprise, all of them time trials as well, because this race used to have a prologue, and he won that twice and won the individual time trial once as well, and showing just how valuable he is to the team as well, even at the age of 37.
He's got such a big motor. You see that there was a couple of riders trying to move up the outside, still not fully on the front, but just on the outside of the bunch, and then they just couldn't even maintain the power that was enough to drag them into contention here. But now we've got Jonathan Narvaez on the wheel of the rider from Sport Flandre there in that red and navy jersey of Ineos Grenadiers. And again, it is now, I tell you who that is, I think that is Tosh van der Sande now on the front for Jumbo-Visma on the left-hand side.
Yes, you're right. The former Lotto Soudal man now riding for Jumbo-Visma. A very useful all-rounder, and this is John Degenkolb doing everything he can to try and get Sam Welsford into place for once. Welsford is the heavily tattooed arm on his right sleeve. We're just looking at... Well, I think we might be seeing the moment where that crash happened, Matt. Very odd to see one rider down by themselves like that, because... Oh, no. Actually, no, it isn't.
That's just...
No.
I think that was the rider that's just attacked and just come back.
Yep. Yeah, nice. Congratulations to the riders behind the peloton. We get back to the front now. There's Ben Turner, who's sixth place on general classification, the big tall rider.
Yeah, they're doing a far better job than they did yesterday. They just got a little bit further down the line. Far less technical this run-in. Big acceleration on the left-hand side. Ben Turner in second wheel there. Just in third wheel in the yellow jersey is Olav Koy. 900 metres to go now, Jez.
Inside that final kilometre, we know it's pretty straightforward now from this point on. One or two of the riders go into the last roundabout, taking the side round the hedge. The team who is still looking in the best formation, Jumbo-Visma, but there's a little split off the back of that leading group of 6 riders. We're into the barriers too. The long lead out has started from Jumbo-Visma, and it's Olav Koy is open already. He's gone really early. Koy trying to take on Maresco, who likes to go early. Koy's tried to outjump him. Maresco's going for the tuck, and Elia Viviani is coming. Is the green jersey going to do it this time? Oh, right on the line. That's going to be a photo. Viviani was coming, like you said, Matt, like he did yesterday. Did he get it, the Ineos Grenadier?
On the right-hand side, there was one of the Bingol's Pal Sources riders who just drew level with Olav Koy. That last 500 metres went in the blink of an eye. Bear in mind, there was in the headwind. I cannot call that one, but Viviani timed his sprint very well. I'm not too sure if he took it. Yeah. That was a blanket finish there.
No one celebrating, Matt. You noticed? Nobody.
No. And I couldn't call it. It looked like it might be Viviani, but equally on the right-hand side, it looks like it might be possibly Dupont or Carl Patrick Lauk, whoever it was from Bingol on the right-hand side. So we will wait and see. Let's have a look at that from the air in slow motion.
Watch Viviani, watch the face. I didn't see anything. I don't think anyone knows, Matt. I don't think they've got a clue.
Dupont, I think, was really close.
Yes.
I think Dupont was really close on the right. Look, he thinks he might have got this. I think Dupont thinks he might have got that on the right-hand side.
Well, that would be a turn-up for the books. They did a lot of work, Bingol Pal Sources. There's a bit of discussion still going on, though. Not exactly jubilant celebrations, a little hand slap.
Well, this was this moment into the roundabout, wasn't it, where a couple of riders just didn't let the wheels go. Just there was a natural split just coming off the exit there. Look at that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders. We've got Elia Viviani in 4th position. Jakob Maresco is the rider that opens up the sprint very, very early indeed. There's Maresco moving into 5th on the inside. He's now winding it up again on the inside. Olav Koy goes off his lead-out rider on the right, and then you've got Timothy Dupont on the right-hand side on the wheel of the yellow jersey, and then Viviani further back, decline just on Viviani's wheel. Now, Moretsko for me goes a little bit too early. Salby is on the wheel of Viviani, and then look on the right-hand side though, Timothy Dupont looking very, very good, but it's these last few pedal revs. Well, it looked like it might actually be Dupont as we get to the line, or has Viviani got it?
Yeah.
No, Dupont.
No,
No,
Dupont. Yeah, definitely.
Dupont's got that.
Definitely.
Dupont's got that one.
Wow. Well, I was talking him out of it with a couple of K to go, saying he's not the same rider, and yet that's a really big win now for him as well. Brilliant.
Yeah, but look at the. Remember, headwind finished. Look at Dupont waiting. 125 metres to go. He comes off the wheel of Olav Koy. At this point, Moretsko just went that a little bit too early. Viviani opens up his big sprint now, but Dupont, this is one of the best sprints of his career. Timothy Dupont looks like he... Yeah, Dupont's got that.
Yeah, definitely.
Big win.
Wow, it really is as well. I mean, he has been so consistent for so many years, but he's so regularly 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th in races at the Point Pro level like this. Perfect dip, brilliantly timed, Matt, as you say, and ahead of two really world-class sprinters. Olav Koy beaten by half a wheel length, and then Viviani, by the looks of it, taking 3rd, but still coming so fast. Ineos Grenadiers are going to have to be all in to try and get the win tomorrow, because Viviani's been so close.
He has indeed. Well, all that does in terms of the general classification is shore up. Moretsko didn't score, and Viviani will lose another 4 seconds to Olav Koy. So Olav Koy going into tomorrow's stage is looking very, very good. But what a win by the rider. From the rider there. Yes, as you said, you've written off. Maybe you heard.
Yeah,
maybe
I know.
Lost in his back pocket. You don't know.
Cox has been writing you off on the TV. Show him how it's done. There we go. Well, that is the best way to answer critics like me, because I was suggesting that I half-heartedly suggesting he might be slightly past it. Anything but. We'll just go back to his Palmares, Matt, because I agree. I think that's one of the biggest wins of his career, actually.
Yeah, it will be. He's won some big races. Won Charcelles in 2018. The Gros Prix Jeff Scherens in 17, Nokkerkurse, which is one of the big semi-classics in Belgium, back in 2016. But this is his first win in a couple of years, in fact, and his first win of the season. He's been consistent. He's had one previous podium in the Dorfenloop Rupken in the Netherlands, and clearly a happy hunting ground for the Belgian, because he's got his first win here.
Yeah. Oh dear. DSM again. Now, I didn't even see where Sam Welsford was. John Degenkolb once again very isolated by himself. It seems to be him that's the engine of that team this week. He did that thing again, Matt. I don't know if you saw it, where he literally got Welsford right up and into position, and then he literally just exploded. He went, I have nothing left. You could see him kind of shake his head and swing out, and then Welsford was just sort of left there by himself.
Yeah, it
very
was.
difficult.
They just didn't seem to. I mean, for whatever reason, they didn't seem to have got it particularly well dialed today. Yeah, so disappointment for them, but joy for Bingo Powell's Sources WB.
Absolutely. We were umming and erring whether it might be Carl Patrick Lauk who's ridden so well, or maybe even Tom Packard, but in the end, Tim Dupont, really powerful and perfectly timed in that final lunge for the line. Brilliant. Because Koy, what was interesting as well, Matt, was that Koy this time tried to do a Moretsko, because the last couple of days it's been Moretsko who's jumped early and got himself aero, got himself really low over the bars and just driven hard. And it was almost as if this time round Koy had decided that he's going to go first before Moretsko. But that just, in a way, he just provided the perfect lead out to Tim Dupont, showing all of his experience, Dupont, as well. And there it is, unofficially confirmed for you, Tim Dupont taking that win that I'd